Now let's go ahead and look at the Western Conference Finals. And the Western Conference Finals is a little trickier. 7 teams have clinched playoff spots. The Houston Rockets are the end-all, be-all, number 1 seed, best record in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors are your number 2 seed. There is no doubt about either of those. But it's a little more complicated when you look at the number 3 seed all the way down to the Denver Nuggets, who are currently at the outside looking in. 2 games separate 7 teams. The Portland Trail Blazers are currently the number 3 seed. They are a half game ahead of the Utah Jazz, who is a half game ahead of the Pelicans, Spurs, and Thunder, who are all tied. The Pelicans would be your number 5 seed if the playoffs begin today. The Spurs at 6, the Thunder at 7. All 3 of those teams have 1 game remaining on their schedule. The Timberwolves are currently tied with the Denver Nuggets. They are a game behind the 3 teams fighting for 5, 6, and 7. And the Timberwolves have 1 game remaining. They own the tiebreaker over the Nuggets for that last seed. Now, right off the bat, how do you see these last 6 seeds shaking out? Do you have any prediction on the order here? Two words, Donovan Mitchell. That kid is for real. Absolutely. I'll say this to go to your point. You know, when the draft happened last year and the Knicks took Frank Ntilikina, everyone was saying, "Oh wow, you're really going to regret the fact that you didn't take Dennis Smith. Oh wow, you're really going to regret the fact you didn't take Malik Monk." Nobody was saying, "Man, you're really going to regret not taking Donovan Mitchell." That's the guy everybody wishes they would have taken now. Let me tell you that. Him and Simmons, I think Simmons wins the Rookie of the Year, but those two, neck and neck for that Rookie of the Year, man. Mitchell's only going to get better too, in my opinion. Now, to look at this, the Trailblazers have 1 game left. The Jazz have 2 games left. The Jazz will be playing the Warriors in Utah. Actually, they're about to just get started as we're recording this. So that's their first game. And then tomorrow night, Utah is on the road against Portland. So those two are going to be going head-to-head. And to go back to Minnesota's last game tomorrow night will be against the Denver Nuggets in Minnesota. So those are 2 games. You mark those on your calendar, man. There's going to be fireworks galore with those 2 games tomorrow. And also, games to keep an eye on in terms of seeding implications. You have San Antonio going into New Orleans. Obviously, this ain't a big matchup, but it is in terms of seeding. Memphis is taking on Oklahoma City in OKC. So those are your big matchups in terms of playoff implications tomorrow night. So you got that. With this, I'm going to be honest, as great as Utah has done, I'm going to say Portland winds up taking that number 3 seed. I think San Antonio, I can't bet against them. I'm going to give the Spurs the win against the Pelicans, which would give them the 5 seed. Obviously, the Thunder, I think, are going to beat Memphis tomorrow night, so that would give them the 6 seed. That would put the Pelicans at 7. And like you, I'm going to say the Timberwolves wrap up that 8 seed. So that would make the matchups by what I have, and I'm guessing Utah and Portland are the only ones you disagree with me on, right? Well, maybe. Okay.
Oh man, I mean, I can't say I really have a prediction on the order. I really can't. I mean, each team I think is going to play, hard all the way through the last two games or whatever is left for each of them during the season. So I can't sit here and say I predict, where each team ends up, but I will take Minnesota to hold on to the 8th seed over Denver. The biggest other thing that really sticks out to me when I just even look at these records is how about Utah, man? You lose Gordon Hayward, one of the best players in the league, and you're still fighting for the number 3 seed in the Western Conference.
You think this would be a big thing? If the Spurs lose to the Pelicans tomorrow and the Thunder beat the Grizzlies,
oh yeah, I'm just saying though. I mean, to lose a guy like Hayward and play like that, I mean that's just
first round.
You're talking a rookie too. I mean that is just hats off to him. Yeah. There's no other way to say it. Just hats off to him.
That's fair. Speaking of Kawhi Leonard, do you think we see him at all in these playoffs? If we don't see Kawhi in these playoffs, we have heard rumblings throughout the season that there is trouble in paradise and there is friction between Kawhi Leonard's camp and the Spurs at large. If we don't see Kawhi in these playoffs, do you give those rumors credibility? That's fair. I agree with that too. I don't know. I think they would have a certain degree of credibility if he doesn't play in in the whole playoff. But like you, I'm surprised we haven't seen him yet either, because you would think, given what he's gone through to get back on the court, you would need a couple games at least to try to get back into game shape before being thrown into the fire of the NBA playoffs. So that right there, that's a level of intrigue that we've never really seen the Spurs have as we enter these playoffs.
Actually, the only one I disagree with you on is the Pelicans first.
The Rockets.
Okay. And that's just strictly because, look, we know Popovich. he don't give a crap about where he is when he gets in the playoffs, as long as he gets in. So the idea of him resting guys or guys playing less minutes in that game to rest them up before the playoffs start, that's his style. The Pelicans are a young team, and they're going to come out firing, and they're going to want to lock up that higher seed and beat the Spurs and all that fun stuff. And Popovich is just going to sit there and be like, guys, one more game. I don't care. Just get through the game. Practice this. Work on that. I'm telling you. Popovich is not going to care about that. At least that's how I feel. At least that's what I think. I don't think he cares about that game tomorrow and has no concern on whether or not they win that game. Who doesn't want to take on the Warriors when they don't have Steph Curry? He's not playing in the first round. So, no, I don't think Popovich cares about that one either. And they should have beat Golden State last year in the playoffs if it wasn't for that cheap-ass injury on Kawhi Leonard. I would be shocked. Now, I mean, I'm already shocked that we haven't seen him, but I would be really, especially if they get out of the first round, I would be shocked if you don't see him playing after that. But I'm already blown away and confused and really just truly feel like a person in the dark when it comes down to whatever the hell is going on with San Antonio and with Kawhi Leonard.
Points per game are the Trailblazers at 103.1, the Utah Jazz at 100.1, and the Spurs at 99.6. And of course, they score the second most points per game in the Western Conference. The Warriors are the only team that scores more than them. So yeah, like you, I will give that to the Rockets as well.
I don't know. The Spurs have always been a class organization, and Kawhi Leonard seems like one of the most down-to-earth guys in the world. I really don't know. I would say they'll at least pick up more steam and more momentum and get more headlines. True or whether they're false, that I wish I could give you a real committed opinion, but I just don't have one. So I gotta just say that I think it'll help it pick up steam and build up more stories during the off season. But I have no idea because I've always thought the Spurs were a class organization, and I've always thought Kawhi came across as one of the great guys in the league.
Yeah, and give some credit to Quinn Cook, man. That guy signed only a few weeks ago. They signed him to a deal through next season. He's been incredible being able to come in that position. And obviously, he ain't Steph Curry, but he's been a very adequate replacement for him. With that roster around him, if he's got to start for the first round, there are a lot worse options that Warriors team can have. So, like you, and I'll give the Pelicans a lot of credit for being able to stay the course and make the playoffs after DeMarcus Cousins went down. With Anthony Davis, he's a beast, man. And Drew Holiday playing some of the best ball of his career. They've been great. Got to go with the Warriors in this one as well. All right, so the third matchup, you'd have the third-seeded Trailblazers in your bracket. And actually, I think both of our brackets, if I'm not mistaken. We would have the Thunder.
They also now have Derrick Rose as well.
Trailblazers. This is
But they just can't score enough points to compete with Houston. Yeah, that's the way to put it. They just can't. And Houston also, I mean, Houston's actually giving up less points per game than Minnesota is.
Yeah.
And there's no way in hell if I told you at the beginning of the season that Mike D'Antoni's Rockets would have a better scoring defense than Tom Thibodeau's Timberwolves, you would have believed me.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. But that's the situation. This team so far really has not responded to the Butler-Thibodeau combination that I at least kind of expected to have happen. And they're kind of right where they deserve to be when it comes down to how they play, not the talent that they have on paper. So I just don't see how they match up the right way with Houston. Jimmy Butler's a great defender, but I mean, I watched James Harden on Saturday night draw a foul because he put his arm around the defender's back and pulled him into him. How do you guard against that?
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to disagree at all in this one. I got Houston.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I want to say Portland here. I really do, for the reasons that you said.
For how badly I want to pick the Spurs, the only way I can pick them is if I know Kawhi's playing and he's 100%. And like you said, to take a guy that hasn't played all year to throw him into the mix of the playoff basketball, that probably wouldn't go well. Even with how it is, that just probably would not go well. So, with that said, even without Steph Curry, they still got Klay Thompson, they still got Durant, they still got Draymond Green. They still run one of the most fluid offenses I've ever watched play. I can't pick against them. So, gotta go Golden State.
You have two great scorers in Lillard and McCollum. I think the numbers game is going to catch up to Portland here. When you have three guys who can go off on any given night, I just think Lillard and McCollum, they're not ready yet to really make it past that first round. So I'm going to go with the Thunder there too. So we're going to agree on that one. Now the next matchup would be the 4 and the 5 seed. The Utah Jazz, in my bracket, they would be taking on the Spurs. In your bracket, the Utah Jazz would be taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. So who you got there? Yeah, I agree with you.
It's funny, because I just realized how badly I would love to see OKC versus Golden State in the first round. Oh my God, would I love to see that instead. But, alright, so we're talking Portland versus the Thunder. Right? Alright, I mean, look, this is going to be the first time in Melo's career he's playing on a playoff team where he actually thinks he's got a chance to make a real run. So that could be interesting. Paul George, I just love Paul George. I think he's great. So, like that. Portland, to me, it's just simple. If Damian Lillard and McCollum are on fire, you can't beat them. Even Golden State can't beat them. Houston ain't gonna beat them. If those two guys are on fire, you can't. They're almost impossible to beat. They are that good offensively. But I can't trust that to happen 7 straight games or enough that they get 4 wins in a 7-game series when I think OKC has the worst best player I've ever watched play, if that makes sense. Russell Westbrook individually is just a man amongst boys. But the disappointing part with him is he really doesn't elevate those around him. And when you watch that makes you disappointed. Like, you are so amazing, but yet you don't do what maybe is the most important part of being a great player, and that is making those around you even better. And I don't feel like he does that. So, got knocks on both teams. I think OKC has more options to score points. I think OKC defensively can hang right there with Portland. But I do think this would be a great series. But I'm going to take OKC.
If he actually kept himself in game shape year round, you don't have to wonder that with Anthony Davis. No, I just wanted to throw that in there. Anyway, in my bracket, I got the Utah Jazz going against the San Antonio Spurs. I really want to pick the Spurs to win this year, but the problem is this is so not the San Antonio.
I mean, dude, tell me he makes those around him better.
Has completely affected this team. You got some really good role players on this team, I'm not going to lie, but you don't have anyone who can really add that pop that Kawhi has brought. And listen, Aldridge is having one of the best seasons he's had in about 5 years. He looks like Portland's LaMarcus Aldridge this year, and it's great to see if you were a fan of LaMarcus Aldridge. The problem is you need a complement to that. He really doesn't have that. Not only with the loss of Kawhi, Paul Gasol, this is his swan song right now. He does not have much longer left in the NBA, and he has played his age this year. It's sad to see if you love Paul Gasol. This ain't the same player from the Laker days. This ain't even the player he was when he was with the Chicago Bulls. So with that, I think the Jazz are just hungrier right now. They have a lot more going for them.
I mean, tell me if you disagree, but is this not maybe the hardest series to pick? I mean, at least from my perspective, with Utah and New Orleans, I mean.
And Derek Favors has played extremely well this year.
I mean, if you look at these guys, like,
so I'm going to go with Utah.
Utah plays better defense. And quite drastically. I mean, 10 points per game difference. To add that up throughout a year, that's hard to do. So, I mean, that kind of alone gives you an idea who's the better defensive team. And when I feel like two teams are that close, that's the direction I got to go. So, even though Anthony Davis to me is like basically the next coming of Kevin Garnett, I can't pick against Utah. That defense to me is really going to be what separates those two teams in a 7-game series.
God, that would be
yeah. Okay.
That would be amazing to see. What do you say about that?
That's a pretty bold statement, but considering what he had 340 in 15 games in a row, he got a triple-double with blocks one night this year. I can't go as far as Shaq. I mean, I just can't. Because Shaq, to me, no matter what generation of basketball you put him in, he would have dominated. You put Anthony Davis back in the decades where the big men dominated. He wouldn't be what we look at him as today.
Even if there's a healthy Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green, you would still take the Thunder. Even all that's got to happen is Curry's out, and you would take the Thunder. Well,
No, that is very true. Yeah, that is very, very true.
I gotta be honest. Even if Curry's out, I think the Warriors can take the Thunder. I gotta be honest, because you put those three up, and I get what you're saying with those three, but I think the difference between the two things, I feel like the Warriors are a much deeper team than the Thunder are. The Thunder have Steve Adams, and that's great, but in terms of the supporting cast, maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on the way Quinn Cook has played the last few weeks, but I feel like he's been a solid addition. And I feel like I said, he's a very adequate replacement. If one of those guys went down on the Thunder, I don't feel like you would have as adequate of a replacement for them. You also still have Nick Young coming off the bench. Nick Young has not been great this year, but we both know, as erratic as that guy is, he can still put up 15, 20 points if he gets enough shots. So I think you have that. You still have Iguodala on that team. You still have a number of different guys, whether it's Jordan Bell, and the kid they played in the finals that they had played in the finals last year, made some good shots. Patrick McCaw. He's only gotten limited action this year, but they have guys who can provide some instant offense and some sparks there. And I just think the Warriors are a deeper team overall than the Thunder. So I would give it to the Warriors even if Curry misses it. But I think we both agree Curry's probably playing in that second round. So either way, we got the Warriors over the Thunder there, right? Okay. So the next matchup would be the Houston Rockets, the 1 seed, taking on the Utah Jazz. Should be a good series, but is there any doubt here?
Yes, it did. I completely agree. As a basketball fan, that would be a lot of fun to watch, and I think that'd be a great series. But if Steph Curry's back for Game 1 and can play the whole 7-game series, I just don't think OKC has enough consistency on offense to be able to beat them. Where Golden State, we just know what they can do. I mean, the team could be down 20 halfway through the third quarter, and you don't think that the game's over. Where basically any other team in the league, you'd be like, all right, I'll put back in like a half hour, but this is probably over. Yeah, like, you know what they can do, especially with all three of them on the court. So if Steph's playing, I'm taking Golden State. If he's not, I actually would take OKC. Yeah, I would.
You asked me at the beginning of the series.
You expect Steph to be back, so I'm going to take Golden State as my pick.
The Western Conference Finals. But I think right now, it's looking like it's going to be that way. That would bring the Rockets taking on the Golden State Warriors, and the Rockets would be the home team for 4 of these 7 games.
Yes, because Carmelo can outscore Draymond Green in his sleep.
Yeah.
Paul George and Durant, I'm obviously going to take Durant, but for the most part, they almost cancel each other out. And then Klay Thompson and Westbrook, as points-wise, I'll take Thompson. But when it comes down to all-around contributions to the game, I'm taking Westbrook.
No.
Yeah, if Steph can't play, I would take the Thunder. But from everything I've heard and read, he's expected to be back by game 1 of round 2 if they make it there. And if that's the case, I'm taking Golden State.
Yeah, I got to go the same way. Listen, my hat is off to everything they've been able to accomplish in Houston. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I looked at this team and I really didn't see who was going to be able to step up to complement Paul and Harden, and the fact that they've been able to withstand. I mean, Paul missed about a month or two of the NBA season. And you've had contributors. Clint Capella has really established himself. Eric Gordon's had a phenomenal year. Trevor Ariza, we all know he's a great glue guy to have around, but he's been great for him this year. You have a lot of really good guys. Joe Johnson has been pretty good since they signed him. Gerard Green, when they signed him, and he had that magnificent run. I think it was when Harden was down, where he's hitting all these three-pointers in about 5 or 6 games. He came through very big for them. So they found contributions from a lot of different guys. And you just have to give them a lot of credit. In the end, though, it is about the star power here. And I think when that quartet is, I mean, we all know this. When that quartet is healthy, there's not too many teams that are really going to be able to beat them. So I'll go with the Warriors as well. How many games do you think it goes?
Unless James Harden misses the plane to get to the games in Utah or gets stuck in traffic driving to Houston's games in Houston, no. I can't pick against Houston. I can't. They've been the best team all year. Harden, I mean, look, I think LeBron deserves every consideration for MVP, but for just the same exact reason why Jordan didn't win MVP every year he basically played, there's other guys in the league that are deserving of it, and the voters think that way. So I think Harden's your MVP. I can't pick against them. I just can't. But then again, if they did lose, I would point the finger at D'Antoni over anybody else. I'm still going to say Houston.
Okay.
I do think it would, because right now I probably would put the series 5 games, maybe 6. But if Paul went down, I could see it going all 7.
See, and for that reason that you just said, I think that's why the 76ers would be more entertaining. Now, your points about the Warriors being a better defensive team are valid, but I do think there's been a lack of parity in the NBA for a while now, and the fact that you've had the Warriors and the Cavaliers be as dominant as
man, would this one be fun? Just like offensive basketball, because holy crap. He's going to have, this series, if it went 7, I'd say at least 3 of the games would be over 220 points scored.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it would be a sweep, something like that.
Yeah, combined.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be nuts. But if you're putting both these teams against each other, each team's 100% completely healthy, I got to go with Golden State. I just do. I mean, Houston would be new to this. Chris Paul's never played in the Western Conference Finals or Conference Finals, period.
So that's why I would say that would be my case for 76.
Man, this is a rough one, but you got to take Golden State because they're the ones that have proved it to us year in and year out for the last couple of years.
Goliath story. That's one of the reasons why I think people are kind of souring on the Cavaliers and Warriors. There is no David in that. You have two Goliaths here, and I think people want to see something different. So, with that, we are going to get out of here tonight. I am Mike Aglialoro. David, you got any last words? All right, that was Dave Hastings, and thank you all for listening. We will see y'all next week.
I think it goes 7. Yeah. I'd be so disappointed as an NBA fan if it didn't go at least 6. But I gotta say 7. All right. I think it'd be the Cavs, Warriors, just because Philly's such a young team that this spotlight would get to them. The pressure of what Golden State can do offensively, and not to mention we all forget this, but they're actually a pretty damn good defensive team as well. I mean, Embiid would give Draymond Green headaches. I'll say that much, but. Yeah, I think the Cavs would be a more entertaining series just due to the fact that at least you have LeBron, and LeBron's going to do things that even if his team's losing is going to still make you say, wow. So I think that would be the direction. I think that would be the more entertaining, even though it would be like, oh, yeah, here we go, 4th time in a row. It would definitely be a David versus Goliath type of story. As always, my friend, it's a pleasure, and until next time.